Welcome back, True Seeker. The big national news story: National Guard on the ground in Los Angeles after being deployed by Donald Trump, who went over Gavin Newsom's head. Just north of California is Washington State, and another story happening is National Guard are searching for a former National Guard member in Washington State who reportedly killed his three daughters. And just like how the news is by the numbers in Los Angeles, as we covered yesterday, look at this story in Washington State. And keep in mind the governor here, the new governor, Bob Ferguson, who took over at the beginning of this year, he called on the National Guard to look for this former National Guard member in Washington State on the same day that Trump called on the National Guard to go to Los Angeles. That was this past Saturday, June 7th. So, again, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. There are four base ciphers of the English language. They are the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You see the name on the screen, Whitney Decker. This is the mother of the three daughters that were reportedly killed. They say the last time this mother saw her daughters was May 30th, which is the 150th day of the year. And notice in the most simple cipher, ABC is 1, 2, 3. The name Whitney Decker adds up to 150. W is the 23rd letter, H is the 8th, I is the 9th, T is the 20th. You just add up the letters as numbers. So Whitney Decker, 150. Again, they say the last day she saw her daughters, May 30th, the 150th day. The next cipher, the dark blue one, Whitney Decker equates to 69. And that same cipher, three daughters, equates to 69. That's just the alphabetic order with numerology applied to each letter. So, for example, W, instead of being 23 for the 23rd letter, is 5 because the numerology of 23 is 2 plus 3 is 5. So you just make each letter a single digit number, then you add up the word. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Whitney Decker is 201. And if you're new here, yours truly has been working on a book on 201 since 2020. I did finish a book in 2020 that has a lot to do with 201, but then I started working on a much bigger project about 201 because it is a very important number to the Jesuits who created the Illuminati. That's why the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, was the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. He recently died 201 days from the death anniversary of St. Francis of Assisi, who he was named after. 201, super important number. Of course, it was the name of the simulation put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, simulating Cooties 19 just before it all went down in 2020. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, again, Whitney Decker's 201. When you run it in reverse with numerology, it's 66. The word woman equals 66 and 69. Of course, this is a story that every mother, this would be their worst nightmare. The word family is 66. Not arbitrary numbers here. Now, you might wonder why I put heliocentrism up here. I just want to remind that the heliocentric model was agreed to in the 16th century, which is the century the Jesuit order was created. Notice just how Whitney Decker and heliocentrism overlap. The heliocentric model says the sun is the center of it all. And the word sun has a gematria of 54. So does the father in this case. Travis Decker is 54, like Jesuit order, like Wenatchee, Washington. If I didn't mention, the Jesuit order equates to 69 and 201 as well. But anyway, son, 54, very special number to the Jesuits. And what makes this even more interesting is they say Travis Decker is 32 years old. The Jesuit logo, this is it on the screen with the IHS and the Templar cross and the three nails for triclavianism. The Jesuit logo has 32 sun rays on it. 32 sun rays. It's kind of like in baseball. By the way, baseball equals 54, like 54 outs in a game. When the Dodgers broke the 32-year drought, they did it versus the Rays. Again, the sports are as scripted as the news is. The point I'm making is it is the Jesuits who gave us the language, the calendar, who really run our government. its propaganda, and who perform these rituals in accordance with this code and in these repetitive patterns over and over. And just adding on to this, they said the girls' bodies were found on June 2nd, which is the 153rd day of the year. Notice Jesuit order, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is 153, like the Illuminati is 153. And again, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati in history. The word Illuminati equals 69 and 150. Order of Illuminati, which it was also called, equals 201, like the Jesuit order. And Adam Weishaupt, the founder, died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. Keep in mind the Illuminati was founded in May, and this ritual began in the end of May. So, again, bodies of the three girls found on June 2nd, the 153rd day of the year. When they found the bodies, they shut down a popular hiking area. I'll come back up to this. Oh, by the way, when Bob Ferguson deployed the National Guard, he did it on the 144th day of being in office, like Jesuit Orders 144, like the United States of America. The same day Jesuit educated Trump, who went to Fordham, deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles. But yeah, when they found the bodies, they shut down a popular hiking area in Washington State. The enchantments, notice, the bodies were found on 6/2, and then they shut down the enchantments on 6/2. And again, creating a massive fear campaign. They're telling a large region of Washington State to be on the lookout. This dangerous man's out there. Keep your doors and windows locked. Sorry you can't go hiking. Again, you guys, this is the culture of fear. And keep in mind, this guy's former military, right? Almost all these major psychological operations in the news involve former military. And it goes back to that speech by MLK that they don't teach in school. They teach you "I Have a Dream" over and over, but they don't teach you the speech that MLK gave a year to the day of his death, April 4th, 1967, Beyond Vietnam, A Time to Break Silence. He talked about how the U.S.'s unrighteous military campaigns across the world, using our young to murder people that don't comply with the U.S. government, brings back a culture of hate and chaos and this exact kind of thing. And a lot of people don't know that MLK gave that speech and was blacklisted from the media the last year of his life until the day of his death. And a lot of people also don't realize that MLK assumed the name Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader who wrote the 95 Theses, only for MLK to be killed on the 95th day of the year. Again, the Jesuits like that 95 a lot, too. I noticed the new governor of Washington's got the 95 in his name, but yeah, again, just what are the odds that National Guard, it's deployed in California, it's deployed in Washington, different reasons, but again, creating the same kind of anxiety inside people. And like I've said, this nation's one giant military police state, psychological operations in the news. The federal government always needs to create chaos and fear to justify their very expensive budgets on police and military. And in this case, they're using a former National Guard member to deploy the National Guard. I mean, just think about it. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope it all made sense. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And you want to look up more about this story, just search Travis Decker, Whitney Decker. And if three little girls were killed, I wouldn't naturally assume that it was the father who did it. I'd look more to your crazy government that loves to manufacture fear and chaos and create this kind of evil on the regular. They might have took out the father too and pinned it on him, and then they'll eventually find his body in the woods somewhere. So, again, the biggest killer that everybody knows is government. And if you don't know that, open up your eyes. We'll leave it there for now. And until next time, Truth Seeker. And one other thing, too. This story comes right between Mother's Day and Father's Day. Next weekend's Father's Day, the weekend prior, the Guards declaring a manhunt for the father. I mean, just think about it, you guys. It's so symbolic. All right. Until next time.